It's an absolutely cracking evening for it. It been looking for glowworms. I still think I'm too early, but I sat at home with rain just pattering against the windows. It is spitting with rain now. Heavier rain is forecast later in the night, and hopefully after I've done wandering around here. May the 21st this evening. This wouldn't be the earliest that glowworms have been recorded here, and I looked back in 2017 just out of interest, and the first female appeared on May the 20th. There is a chance, even though a couple of videos ago I did think that perhaps we wouldn't see a glowworm much before the beginning of June and certainly the last week of May, but you know, when you get to a certain age and you get those hunches. I've had a hunch, but I don't know. It could just be a very pleasant walk, hopefully, and a not too wet a walk. We'll see whether the first glowworm is out here at Clipston Old Quarter. Well, at the very least, if there's no glowworms to light up the screen, we should get nightjars singing. In fact, I'm sure I can hear one chirring away now down on the bottom path. For those that haven't seen one of these videos before, what I do is walk around a set route, part of what was the 6.5 kilometre circuit that Dillis and I used to do nightly many years ago. It's not that far now, but I'll put a map in here and tell you the route briefly. But I'll start from Peaford Lane, walk through section O, then I'll be going along sections L and M, coming back through those two sections, then up through K and J, and then down through D, C, B and A, which are the 4 sections of the grass strip. Maybe we'll get lucky. If we do, I have a feeling it'll be on the bottom path in sections L or M. Quite often that produces the first glowworm of the year, but we'll see. High likely that we won't see any at all, but we may get nightjar. Right, off with the light. Well, would you believe it? I've no sooner started to walk along section L and I was stunned. I must admit, I was completely stunned to see a female glowworm, and it's on an area of rubble that was used as hard standing when they took the pine trees out here a number of years ago. There hasn't been one in this area since that time. I can't believe it. That hunch has completely paid off. One of the most magnificent insects we have here in the UK. 21st of May, the first glowworm is out. Of course, the big question I can't answer: how many days has she been out? She's certainly very active, moving that abdomen to try and attract a male. And now the chorus has joined the picture. The thrill of seeing one of these, the first one of any year, stays with me every year I get it. This rather completely innocuous and obscure looking beetle during the daytime doesn't even have an elytra, the female, yet at night it does this. I have a feeling this one's been out a couple of days. What makes me say that is the fact that she's moving the abdomen around such a great deal. Absolutely wonderful. And this female is out in the open, so it's very stony ground here. Beautiful. A spot of light at 4 o'clock from where she's glowing from the end of the abdomen is an effect on the camera lens. Wonderful. I never expected this. I said I had a hunch, but it was just one of those feelings. It was the night. And when I mean the night, I mean overcast, warm, very mild, with light rain. It's conditions like that that have produced glowworms in the tens and even hundreds here on occasions in the past. Previous nights have been unsuitable because the sky has been clear, there's been a bright moon, and the temperature has dropped. Wonderful. And one of the best things about this is that there's not been a female glowworm here for years. They are slowly starting to move back into areas where they were wiped out with the pine harvesting many years ago, and they can only move through the lava walk in the distance. What a wonderful thing. You may well be able to hear the rain coming down. The rain doesn't stop these. It would have to be absolutely thunderstorm style torrential rain for them to go and seek a degree of cover. But if the night or the evening temperature drops after rain during the day, they usually don't glow. But if they've started glowing and it starts to rain, or the rain is only light, they will glow. And those kind of nights, overcast, often with drizzle, really sort of murky conditions, are often the best in terms of numbers. We, through surveying so many times, or every night, and over a number of years, we noticed that there was a pronounced peak very quickly in the season. And Jenny Cox also noted a similar thing in Wales. I've no idea whether people have noticed it in other parts of the country, but that first peak, it was a very sharp rise and very sharp decline. You could easily miss it, and it used to be usually around June the 8th or 9th, sometimes a little bit earlier depending on when the season started. But from where I am, that looks a fabulous shot. But I need to get round, so we'll leave her attracting the male. The male may well be out. Shorter pupation period by several days for males. What a turn up for the books. Am I glad that I came out. I have a second just further along, about 100 yards in section M, and I'm just lighting her up a little bit because the angle that she's situated at means that the glowing plates aren't easily visible, at least not by the camera angle. So give you a chance just to have a look at one of these marvellous beetles. Most unbeetle like, if anything, but wonderful creatures nonetheless. To find two is exceptional as a first night, so we could well see maybe another one So as female in section L, this one in section M, which is the warmest part of the site. It's lowest in terms of the rest of the site, so it's prone to being colder on a night time or cooler on a night time, but it warms up more in the day. So we'll retreat you can just see the hint of a light. I can walk along while I'm recording this, but I've just left our first female and of course the second female, and now just walking through the last bit of section L, and then we start the uphill sections of K and J. I won't be surprised now if there is another female glowworm somewhere up here. The next few minutes will tell. We have a third. I've come down probably 50 to 100 yards down section D. I'm walking on the path because the vegetation is short enough to be able to see the glowworms, and this one stood out like a sore thumb. 3 is incredible. I would have been overjoyed, and indeed I am overjoyed with just the very first one, but to follow it up with a second and now a third is just fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Only about a week ago I was standing within yards of this point here watching the aurora, fantastic natural light show, and now I'm watching another. How lucky am I? I know it's raining, that doesn't bother me. When you're seeing something that you love and that you've been wanting to see for such a long time, again since the end of last glowing season, it's always remarkable to see the first of a new season. And as the rain comes down here, it clips an old quarter. This female is glowing nicely, very short grass. In fact, this is one of the areas where bracken encroaches, so she's not got any grass cover at all, but you can see how the glow from her is lighting up the water droplets on the grass immediately close to her. What a stunning thing. One site, 2 very different light shows within the space of about a week. The rain's really coming down now. It has since I recorded that last glowworm, and since I started to come down through sections D, C, B and A. You may wonder why I do this, but this is nothing new to me. I've done this countless times. It gets harder to do when you're on your own, and I'll do it again. Come out in the rain, get wet. It is only a weekday after all. Makes no difference. When you enjoy or have a passion for doing something, the weather can do what it wants, because when you're involved and indulging in that passion, you don't care or even notice the weather. And I won't notice the weather. On the way back to the car, I've got about another 100 metres. And that's because I've relented. My dad and my brother will have fallen off the chairs. I've actually brought an umbrella, but the umbrella's not for me, it's for the camera. However, I'll borrow it just this once.